I was high school. It's funny. I had like a 1.8 to 2.0 GPA in high school, which is crazy and everything to think about.
How did you feel with that? Because I have
That's
I
a good question, Zach.
because the system I don't think is set up. Obviously, you're highly successful, right? So you're being judged in a way by our
Hmm.
system that maybe could make an individual feel all sorts of different ways. And obviously, it didn't nick your confidence, or at least too much, because here you
Yeah,
are, a
yeah,
shining
yeah, of
success.
course.
So, how the fuck did that feel as somebody who's
Yeah,
obviously
no.
highly capable and intelligent in an uncomfortable uh, judgment space potentially? Or tell
Yeah.
me how it felt.
So I'm great question, Zach, and I'm incredibly passionate about this topic too, right? Because the standard for success of which they measure on and everything too, right? I mean, everyone's finding out pretty quickly that like real world applicable skills, knowledge bases, network, and soft skills and everything are really the difference makers in folks today, right? And it's funny, like no one had that foresight for me back in school. But if you were to ask me between all a whole host of attributes, having that, I'm choosing that every single time. That list I just rattled off. So there's that part too, right? So it's false information being portrayed as the truth too, and like I'm not about I'm seeing through it all too, right, and everything because the
At the
people,
time?
yeah, exactly, because the people that are
Wow.
impressing that, unfortunately, the people that are impressing that
Yeah.
information on me aren't in the room that I want to be in, right? They're
Yeah,
here
you're
with
not
me,
impressed by
you know what I
them.
mean?
Yep.
Like, and then
Yep.
there's no discredit to that and everything too. I believe teachers and everything too. Well, my sister's
But
one,
you're
you
intuitive and a good
know
judge
what
of
I mean?
people. So
Yeah, exactly.
you're hearing them tell you, and you're like, well,
But
I
I
don't know
mean,
if this is a good
so
mirror.
how you know, so how going back to how it felt. So I think there's two different like trajectories you could take with it, right? There's like the saying like life is 5% of what happens to you and 95% of how you react to it, right?
Mhm.
And yeah, I could have taken the mode or the mindset of like, ah, oh, damn, I'm not gonna amount to shit and everything too. Like, someone's gonna tell me what it is and everything. But uh, anything that could add fuel to the fire is a good thing, not a bad thing too, right? And so it just added fuel to the fire, right? Is really what it came down to, right? Because the decision was already made up that I was going to have entrepreneurship in my blood and everything, like before I even really got to school and everything too. Like
Mm.
I honestly didn't even know the term or the phrase of entrepreneurship too, but I knew I wanted to operate in a certain regard when I was young, right? So there was that, and there was no way, there was not a teacher, and there's no one in hell high water that was going to tell me otherwise, too. Like there's that stubborn aspect, right? Too, right?
Mhm.
In like real like sense of like I'm doing this no matter what, right? So there's that part. The other part of it all too is just I like to utilize myself now as a case study though too because I'd like to point it back towards people and everything too because like uh, no, I'm not the most successful person and everything like that I know and everything, obviously, but I've gotten to a point where I'm like at least proud of my accomplishments up to this point and everything, and I'm far from finished. You can quote me on that, but at the same token, it's just I'm glad that I took it there and didn't let something I don't know, basically outside of me again, like kind of dictate where I'm going to be and everything. And I think because I say it now with ease too, but like back then, like oh man, the amount of like internal dialogue and beat up that I had with myself too, because
Mhm.
like when you hear that, you're like, all right, well, shit, now what? You know what I mean? Like, what is my actual path forward here, right?
Mm.
And when you look at all the options too, quote unquote, then it just
Mhm.
doesn't look so sweet if you don't really go and get it too, right? Like the alternative of just sitting there and everything. I'm like, I might as well like go for it, balls to the wall type of thing too, because like, what's the worst thing could happen, right? You know what I mean? Is kind of my thought
Yeah.
process on it all too, right? So, I mean, a low GPA and everything too. Like I was like, well, it's all gravy from here, right? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
statistically, I'm supposed to be X, Y, Z and everything. Pick a laundry list of professions, credentials, however you want to phrase it, right?
Hmm.
And that just didn't sit well with me, right? So I didn't sit. I started walking and making moves and hustling.